So I always hear, "Hey Nelly, I now met this guy. How do I know that he's the person I should be involved in BDSM with?" So I'm gonna be sharing with you guys the questions that I asked to see if the person is compatible with me. Am I gonna be safe around them? Do we have a mutual understanding? So those are the three things that I keep in mind whenever I see a potential partners, and these are the questions that I straight out ask them. You can beat around the bush if you want to, or you can straight out ask them. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Nelly Cartini, and this is my channel, Nelly BDSM, where I share my personal experience about BDSM. If there's something that I forget, please do edit on the comment section. If there's any suggestions that you want to make, leave it in the comment section. If there's a mistake that I made, call me out on the comment section. If there's a story you want to tell me, anything, just leave it in the comment section. And also do leave me a like, I appreciate it. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I want to reach 1,000. Like, I'm already close to 1,000. I'm like 100 away from 1,000. Didn't think I was gonna be here, but here are we. You guys clearly enjoy my content, so I'm gonna be sharing my questions. So my first question that I'll ask is like, uh, what experience do you have, or what is your understanding of BDSM? What experience and your understanding in BDSM is? Like, I want to know how experienced are you, and what is your understanding, because if I know how experienced you are, I know what you know, and I know you basically know what you want, you basically know what you like. So if you're a newbie, you might just want to try things out, you might want to check things out. So those are the things I'm trying to check for, to gauge for, when I ask that question. The next question is basically, what are your limits? What are your hard limits and what are your soft limits? What are you willing to try? What are you not willing to try? And what are things that you would consider? Basically, the ones that you would consider only come when the person says, "I like this," and you're like, "I don't know if I'll try that, but I'm gonna see whether we can consider it or not." The hard ones is, "I would not do them whether you like them or not," and the soft one is like, "Yeah, I tried that, but it's not off the table," type of thing. So those are the type of questions that, like, that's another question that I ask whenever I'm vetting a partner, so I can see they're compatible with me. Okay. Another thing is, what are your interests and what are your fantasies? I'm looking at my phone because I wrote everything down. So what are your interests and what are your fantasies? What are you interested in? What do you fantasize about? This gives me a gauge of what you like. Okay. Which then leads me to my next questions. My next question is, what are you? Are you a dom? Are you a sub? Are you a switch? Because I need to gauge what I am going to be with you. I'm a switch, and I'm a dom to some people, and I'm a sub to some people. It just depends on like our chemistry and like our level of communication and understanding, I guess. So there are people that I'm dominant with, and there are people where I'm totally soft and submissive towards. Yeah. So for me, asking that question, it just leads me to, what am I going to be in this relationship? Do I want to be that? Because majority of the time there are guys which I pick and I'm like, I want to be submissive to him because like his whole aura is giving me dom aura. And then there are people I'm like, oh my god, I'm totally gonna dominate this guy. So I asked that question to kind of gauge whether, what am I gonna be if like I choose to engage with you. Okay. The other question is, what do you okay, so how do you handle consent and safe words? Highly important. Does this person want you to use safe words? Like, I've heard a lot of comment where people say, I don't use safe words, I wouldn't want to use a safe word. This is like a major mistake that I made when I was getting into BDSM. I was like, I don't want to have safe words because I felt like I wanted to please the other person. Safe words are important. So if they say they don't use safe words and you guys are just starting out, for me that's a major red flag. Like, you don't even know my limits is yet, and you're like, I don't want to use safe words. Like, I'm running for the hill if a guy says that, or if like a dom that I'm dating says that. And how do they feel about consent? Do they understand what consent is? Do they need me to consent to things, or do I need to give away my consent with, like, I need to understand what's gonna go on, like regarding consent, because consent is highly important in BDSM. You need to consent to things. There are types of relationship where you just willingly give away all your consent, and there are some um activities or some scenes where I say, okay, if you're gonna do that, I am giving you consent to do it anytime. Like, you don't have to ask me like before we even start. But what is their understanding of consent? How do they feel about it? If they say they don't want you to consent to certain things, they don't care whether you consent or not, they're gonna do them. Red flag, run for the hills. um, Another one is that, what is your approach to aftercare? Highly important to me, because if you just leave me after a scene, I am devastated. I yo like, you can't just, we can't play out a scene and then you just get up and leave. Like, I need you to bathe me, I need you to cuddle with me, I need you to affirm me. Like, I need word of affirmation, like after a scene. So if a guy says I don't really care about aftercare, for me it becomes a red flag, and I'm like, ugh, can't, like, I can't. And I asked them, what is your idea of aftercare? What aftercare do you prefer to provide? And I kind of gauge there whether I'm gonna be compatible with them, because aftercare for me is like highly important. Okay. And another question is, how do you communicate during a scene? Okay, how do you communicate during a scene? Are you going to be verbal during a scene, or are you going to be just using safe words? um Sometimes I personally do the tapping. Like, if I tap you once, it means okay, I'm almost reaching my limit. It's like, tap is like a yellow, and like two taps are like red, like stop type of thing. So yeah, how are we gonna communicate? Is it gonna be verbal? Is it gonna be movement? Is it like, yeah, I gauge those type of things when I ask that question. Those are the answers that I'm expecting. I'm expecting you to tell me, oh yes, we're going to be using safe words, or I prefer that you do this, or I prefer that you do that when you're reaching your limit, or you want me to stop. How are we going to communicate, basically. Okay. Another one is, what are your expectations for our relationship? Highly important, because you get to know what they're expecting. If they just want a once off, you get to know, and you get to determine whether you want to enter or not. Because I know personally, once off for me, they don't work. Once off engagements never work for me. I'm gonna do a part 2 of this video. I know I always say I'm gonna do part 2, but I'm just gonna record it just now after the video, because I feel like it's becoming very long, and I don't want to have like those long videos. But yeah, I'm gonna do a part 2. So yeah, what was the question? Is, oh yes, what do you expect out of this relationship? This is another highly important question for me, because Mina, personally, I'm not a once-off type of girl. Like, if it's gonna be once off scene, I am not coming. Do not invite me. Do not even bother. So I get to know whether they want to do it once off, because I don't like that whole, I'm gonna have to wait for you to tell me whether you want to do it again, because I'm gonna be at home sitting. Is he gonna call me again? Is he? I just want to know. I want to know, so I can see whether I want to be in this or not. So yeah, guys, that's the rest of part 1. Be on the lookout for part 2. Mostly going to be posted 2 days after this video. I'm going to record it now though, but yeah, it's going to be posted 2 days after this video. And do leave me a comment of what other questions that you ask whenever you're vetting. I still have, well, probably 8 more other questions, but I just wanted to make this video less than 10 minutes. So yeah, see you on my next video. Love you lots.